This next topic is picking up now with marketing mix again. So we have looked at the product life cycle, extension strategies, and now we're going to revert back to pricing, place and promotion. And then the subsequent recording will finish out on the last of the 3 Ps: people, process, physical environment. So pricing is quite short. It is really a reflection of what we also have covered at GCSE, with no new detail per se, other than maybe value-based pricing, dynamic pricing, which are 2 more pricing methods or strategies which we wouldn't have done at GCSE. So we'll go through these first of all. So price obviously is the physical value charged for a product or service that's on sale. Okay, and there are a number of different approaches to pricing that a business can use at its disposal. So first one, probably that you're most familiar with, is price skimming, okay, from GCSE, and it's a wee bit like the stone skimming the stone across the water. The stone skims across the top of the water, okay, as it moves. So price skimming is effectively charging a relatively high price when a product is launched into the market, and remains at a relatively high price up to a point in time at which then price will start to fall back and decline back into sync with other competitors in the market's pricing strategies. In other words, becoming more a price taker as opposed to a price maker. So why would a business skim? And why or how is that most appropriate, or when is it most appropriate? So price skimming really takes effect when your product is going into a marketplace that already there is competition, but you as a business have differentiated your product substantially. Something is completely different, modified, etc., that doesn't already exist in the market, or you have employed high levels of investment in your R&D phase or technology, etc., to allow what you're offering to be different to what's already on offer. Okay. And your business believes it has done that, and it's going to market itself having done that, and it goes in on a skimming, okay, pricing strategy. Okay. Again, when you have a brand built up as a company, very strong reputation and branding, and then you come up with a product that you believe is ultimately different that already exists in the market, again, branding will help you allow that skimming strategy to take effect and for you to get away with charging prices above what's already being charged in that type of marketplace. Okay, so skimming is going in over the top. High-tech products, unique, highly differentiated products. In contrast, okay, penetration pricing is the complete opposite. You go in under your competitors, what they're already charging at a lower price, with the ultimate aim to gain market share. In other words, steal customers of your competitors. And then ultimately, when you have customers built up and they have become loyal over a number of weeks or months, you gradually start to push your price back up again, in line with a competitive pricing of what your competitors are doing. Okay, I'm going to tie a little understanding of elasticity into pricing, but we will cover elasticity of demand first and then connect it back to pricing in a later audio. The third type of pricing strategy then is cost plus pricing. And that really is all about looking at the physical costs of what you're making or buying in to sell on, and understanding what consumers will be prepared to pay for the value that you're adding to the product or to the service that you have on offer. And understanding that value adding is very important, because that allows you then to build in the percentage, okay, on top of the plus on top of the cost that you have incurred as a business. And you need to have fairly accurate understanding of that, because if your cost of a product is £5 and you believe or you think that you have can charge £20, really what you're saying there, okay, is that additional £15 per item is the value added in each product or service that you're offering. Now you have to be confident your customer believes that, or they won't pay £20. Okay, so a very good example of this, although phones we know are skimmed priced because they are so expensive, because that we're told about the high-tech specs that go in them, etc. It's a wee bit like phone pricing. If you research Apple, it has been proven that an Apple iPhone costs around about $100 to produce, to make $100. And effectively, we're being charged £1,000 minimum to buy the product. So Apple believe that their branding, their R&D work, their high-end spec that they're putting into their mobile phones, etc., is the value that they're adding. And therefore, the cost plus is that percentage, that very large percentage markup that they add to allow them to charge that 1,000 plus figure, to the consumer. Okay, value pricing then. Value pricing is setting, this is a new one, setting the product's price based on the benefits it provides to consumers. In contrast to cost plus pricing is based on the amount it takes to produce the product. Okay, so companies that offer unique or highly valuable features or services are often better positioned to take advantage of value-based pricing than companies whose product or service is really indistinguishable from their competitor. So the basic concept is you set your price to capture the majority of what your customers are willing to pay. So a company that sells basic white 100% cotton athletic socks would probably use cost plus pricing because its product does not have any special features. However, a company that's selling sweat wicking, extra padded athletic socks, grip socks, for example, could use value-based pricing and sell their socks at a higher price because they're providing something unique and valuable to a particular type of customer, athletic customers. So value-based pricing is literally pricing, based on the product's benefits perceived by the customer as opposed to the actual cost that you've incurred in the first place as a business of making the product. Okay. Dynamic pricing then is when prices are changed, rapidly in response to changing demand. So for example, airlines and hotels are a really good example where they track the number of inquiries at any moment and the number of seats or rooms left and change the price accordingly. And you may be aware of this if you want a laptop and search for flights, and it'll flash up 4 seats left at this price, or sometimes it might say there are currently 125 customers viewing this quote right now, or viewing this product for sale right now. So they're tracking interest, and as interest is building for particular things, then they start sending you messages, that you should buy now, etc., because there's little stock left or little seats left on the plane. And then if you go back in several hours later, very often on the same PC or electronic device, you might see that the price has increased from you looked at it a couple of hours ago, because they're monitoring demand and not an actual physical sale per se, but the interest to buy. And if interest is spiking, they immediately start pumping the price up. So dynamic pricing. Okay, so what affects the price of products? So that's our 5 strategies. What actually affects the price of them? The actual costs of production. Okay, again, this is GCSE, remember this. Cost of production, you have to cover your costs, of course. So price needs to cover the cost needed to make a profit. The stage of the life cycle. We've just looked at the life cycle recently. High prices can happen during growth stage. Again, introduction stage, depending on whether it's a differentiated, unique, branded good, you're coming in at skimming, so higher. If you're going into a very competitive market, perfect competition, you're going in under penetration. So again, depending where you're at in the life cycle. And if you're going into decline, again, some businesses might actually reduce their price because they want to sell what they have of remaining stock, and other businesses will raise their price because they want to get the last level of profit out of those remaining units of stock before the stock is completely gone for good. Okay, other elements of the marketing mix also affect price. So for example, where you're placing the product Is it placed in high exclusive branches, outlets, locations? Again, you know, if you're placing your product on Bond Street in London, because of the nature of what it is, then your price is going to be high. If you are placing your product in non-frill, low income consumer shops, you know, like supermarket, discount stores, then obviously your price is going to be lower. So all of the different elements of the mix have a part to play on the pricing strategy set. Level of competition. Okay, we've looked at this back under competition as well. If you have a high level of competition, you are a price taker, not a price maker, and you just can't charge what you want. And less level of competition, monopoly and monopolistic, you are becoming a price maker and can set your price accordingly. Okay, elasticity of demand is a very important concept on how you set your price. So just to summarize this point, but we're coming to elasticity in detail. Okay, when your product or service is deemed inelastic in nature, i.e. less than responsive to a price change, okay, that means that price becomes a good tool at your disposal as a business to change accordingly, okay? And if you are price elastic as a business, then if you reduce your price, you will have a surge in demand and increased revenue, but ultimately the opposite of that, if you increase your price, then you're going to have a negative impact on sales and ultimately revenue and therefore profit. So understanding the elasticity of your product, the price elasticity of your product is very important in how you then set your pricing. Okay, promotion then. Promotion, okay, lots of methods of promotion. Just to start, of course, the concept of promotion is defined as a term used to inform and persuade consumers to buy. Okay, so it's a mix of things, okay? It can be a mix of advertising at certain levels and then what we call above the line or below the line promotion methods, which now that doesn't mean they're illegal or illegal because they're above or below. It just means different ways in which you are attracting the attention of your customer or potential customers. So the purpose of promotion is to inform or raise awareness. Ultimately, of course, to increase sales, to encourage brand loyalty, and to indeed enhance the reputation or image of your business. That's ultimately the purpose of promotion, what you want to do. So it can be done a number of ways. We said advertising, lots of different types of special offers, and then also through a process of joint ventures where you are effectively co-marketing yourself as an alliance, allowing two companies to combine their marketing efforts and marketing strengths in order for both businesses to benefit. So, excuse me, from an advertising point of view, all of these methods, just to be aware of different ways we can do it. And again, you know, a lot of this is common sense about the benefits based on the exposure that you get with advertising in terms of size. So, for example, TV advertising, radio advertising has far bigger exposure than a local newspaper in a particular town or small city. You know, you're not going to have the same access to the same level of readers or views. So again, social media has become a very important part of this, and we're going to come back to that on e-commerce now shortly in another audio. Television, commercial radio, cinema, national newspapers, posters and billboards, magazines, local and regional newspapers, the internet and social media, direct mail. They are all different mechanisms, and special offers, all different ways, okay, of advertising. Some of them are very much old school, like national newspapers, etc. Cinema, still very useful, but again, very targeted. You know, if you're advertising children's products, toys, of course you're going to advertise in the cinema during children's movies. If it's alcoholic beverages, then you're obviously using cinema listings that are above age 18 viewings, etc., etc. It has to match the audience that you're trying to attract or inform or persuade through your advertising. Posters and billboards allow, you know, large displays and key points in traffic Traffic is actually a very important way of seeing things. When you're sitting in traffic at a certain stop points at traffic lights and you look around, you're waiting, that's when people observe things and view things. Even don't underestimate the amount of advertising on like vehicles, companies, businesses, vehicles, when people see things as they pass, etc. Okay, magazines are very specific to focused audiences, of course. And again, the internet and social media, brand new platform of advertising for business, which we know is not free advertising, but it is a cheaper means of advertising because you're paying like a subscription yearly for social media platforms, but your exposure on those platforms is quite huge. Direct mail, again, still exists, but maybe possibly less significantly important because, you know, people get flyers, etc., direct mail to their letter boxes at home. Do they really read them? Do they take notice of them? Or do they go straight to the bin? Okay, so when we look at promotion, okay, we know all of the different things about promotion, above the line, below the line. There's lots of them, like buy one, get one free, 10% discount if you buy second, competitions, special offers, buy two, get third, or buy three for £2. There's lots of different variations on special offers, promotional methods that businesses can use, or you buy a product and you get 20% off the next purchase, or loyalty cards. Using loyalty cards, again, is a great promotional method to encourage people to come back and to repeat spend. Buy one, get one free, competition, special offers, discount codes, stamps, loyalty cards, all examples of special offers that can be used. Okay, joint ventures then, or where companies involved in joint ventures agree to combine to increase their advertising audience, enable them to reach more customers with their message. In addition, companies might combine assets and resources such as employees, even databases and market research, or even product lines. Joint venture marketing agreements also do not carry large risk because both companies share in the success or failure of the marketing campaign. And therefore, both organisations will work hard to ensure the venture succeeds. Overall, the factors that would affect the promotion, strategy of the business will ultimately be determined by, one, who are your target audience? You know, who are you trying to get your information to? Is it a large group of people? Is it a mass market? Is it a niche market? Is it a small particular type of group of people with similar buying characteristics? All of that's going to affect how you promote and the ways in which you promote. Secondly, your budget, of course. Your marketing budget broken down into even your promotional budget. How much money do you have to spend? Is it a fixed budget on that, or is it variable, flexible, that it could change possibly based on a reaction to competitors' promotional strategy changing and you're trying to respond? So again, budgeting and the connection with the finance department is very important. The message, what are you about? What do you want the consumer to know about you or be influenced by you? And again, the level of promotional mix will be influenced by technology. The growth of online businesses has created many new forms of promotional opportunities like Google adverts and social media, viral marketing, etc. Even, platforms like TikTok and Facebook, where we see sponsored advertisements, and a lot of promotional work going on online on social media platforms. Okay, the next P then in this audio is place. And again, place is to do with distribution channels and effectively how you get your product, from original source to end user, which is ideally the consumer. And again, a lot of this is common sense because it depends on the type of product, of course. Some products by their nature go directly from manufacturer to buyer with no intermediaries in between, and other products by their nature do have many intermediaries in between. So place refers to the methods by which the business delivers its goods or services to the right place at the right time. Okay, it is very important that the mix means getting the right method of distribution for which the product for the product in the most cost-effective manner, and that's very important. It's not just about getting it directly from origin to user to get to the user, but you have to think of how much it costs you to do that, and is there a more cost-effective option to take. Okay, so the method by which the good travels then is obviously called the channel of distribution, and we have 4 channels of distribution: manufacturer to wholesaler, manufacturer to wholesaler, retailer, consumer, manufacturer, retailer, consumer, and manufacturer, let's start those again. Manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, consumer, manufacturer, retailer, consumer, and manufacturer, consumer. Okay, so the intermediaries is what we really refer to as the wholesaler and the retailer, because they are in between the original point of origin, the manufacturer, and the consumer, the end user. So the most direct route is obviously the manufacturer to the consumer. And this is known as having 0 levels of channels and is growing in popularity as a result of direct selling. The manufacturer to the retailer, to the consumer, is known as level 1 channel. It's probably the most common channel of distribution in consumer markets, like our markets where we buy our food, our clothes, our toiletries, our cosmetics, like our electronic devices, etc. This is a result of the growth of large retail chains such as Tesco and Marks and Spencer's, for example, who prefer to buy directly from manufacturers rather than the middlemen, as they often secure better deals when they are buying directly from the manufacturers. Retailers are responsible for the final part of the distribution channel, i.e. selling the goods to us, the consumers. They provide also convenience, advice, financial assistance, and of course after sales support. And the third channel is the manufacturer to the wholesaler, to the retailer, to the consumer, as called the 2-level channels, still common in consumer markets where smaller retailers do not have the buying power to purchase directly from the manufacturer, and therefore you see the wholesaler is breaking down the bulk, okay, because they buy from the manufacturer, store it, and then smaller retailers come to the wholesaler and buy their stock in smaller quantities to sell on to the consumers from their smaller business operations. Wholesalers are able to use specialist knowledge of their part of the distribution network to benefit producers and retailers. They move goods around the country using their own network, reducing costs and time for other businesses, and they have purpose-built warehouses and storage facilities for the range of products that they supply. They offer choice to the retailer. So a retailer might not need large quantities of particular items, so shouldn't be forced into buying large quantities from manufacturers directly. They go to the wholesaler, okay, and buy their stock from there, and the wholesaler acts as what we call the breaking down of bulk point. Okay, so most commonly in the past, the main distribution channel was channel 3, which is the producer or manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, consumer. Most large retailers such as supermarkets, department stores and chain stores bought from wholesalers. The growth of the supermarket sector has now allowed retailers, supermarkets to go directly into channel 2, which is manufacturer, retailer, consumer, because they are stocking units of stock in such large volumes, and they've increased their branches on a national scale, even a global scale, some of the big retail supermarket chains, and therefore they can buy directly from manufacturers because they need the quantity directly from the manufacturer. Multi-channel distribution is very common nowadays, and this exists when firms are using more than one type of channel. So for example, Mars uses all 3 channels. Vending machines is direct. They put their produce directly into vending machines, and the customer buys. They're using corner shops also for their products, and that's where the corner shop, Mr. Jones, goes to the wholesaler and buys how many Mars bars he needs a week on average to sell. Channel 3. And then they are also, having the direct channel, okay, for channel 2, where they are, Mars bars are going, the supermarkets, sorry, are buying directly from Mars themselves, the manufacturing plant, and stocking their goods. So factors influencing the method of distribution. Again, a lot of common sense with these factors, you know, the type of product, perishable goods, right, bread, fresh fish, okay, fresh vegetables that have a shelf life date of 24 or 48 hours. They have to move quick. So they have to have the most direct channel to get from original source to consumer. Okay, size of the retailer. Large retailers like Tesco, Aldi, Sainsbury's are very likely buying a lot of their produce directly from the manufacturer. Smaller supermarket retailers might buy some directly from manufacturer, but in the most part, they are probably still buying from the wholesaler for other types of goods that they're stocking in their stores. The geography of the market would be important. If it's a remote area, okay, for example, it's not likely large manufacturers are delivering directly to consumers, okay, in remote areas. They try to keep fairly centralized to large population areas. Technology, with mobile technology, more and more products are being sold on the internet, so therefore bypassing wholesalers altogether. So when we go online as consumers, very often we're placing orders directly to the manufacturers, and you know the retailer and the wholesalers cut out, okay, at that point. So direct selling is very common now because of the advances in technology. The complexity of the product is important. If a product is highly complex, direct contact with the producer may be important. Now, for example, if a particular person is designing their own car, customer specifications, made to order, then that customer is dealing directly with the manufacturer and paying for what they are doing. Okay, and lastly, the degree of control desired by the manufacturer. In order to control quality and protect their reputation, some firms deliver directly to selected retailers only. Okay, so for example, Nike and Levi have prevented retailers such as Tesco from selling their goods. So they don't allow them the distribution access to their goods, okay, because they pride themselves on a level of quality, and they want to control their quality, so they only allow their products to be stored and stocked in certain distribution outlets in terms of retail. So that is our pricing, our promotion, and our place of the marketing mix. The next audio will look at the last 3 P's: people, process, and physical environment. 3 new P's to lower 6th theory, but they are quite small in content.